Hey, what's up? It's a Flawedoffroad. I've got this Jeep kind of almost ready to roll, but I just keep hitting problem after problem after problem. And we're going to talk about what I got left to do, some new parts that I got, and when I'm hoping to have it done by. So one of the biggest reasons that I've been hitting kind of a lull in this project is my kids. They come first. My daughter's on travel softball. We got soccer. We got scouts. We got every activity under the sun, and it's been eating up a lot of the weekends and stuff. But I have this whole week off of work, and it's time to get this Jeep done. So one of the first things that I need to do is, these are Wagoneer springs that came with 7 leaves, and I took 2 leaves out thinking 5 would be enough, but this thing's like, the ass end is like 4 inches higher than the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 6th leaf back in this front, at least for now. I can always take it back out later if the back settles or whatever. So that's going to be today's project. It shouldn't be too hard. Also, this thing kind of has rotted out brake lines. They're not rotted out, they're just in bad shape. There's some splices here and there. So I went online and got a stainless steel preformed brake line kit. And I'm going to be doing all new brake lines throughout the whole Jeep. I'm hoping that my old stainless hoses here are going to be long enough. Those are still Dana 30 calipers. I just left them hooked up so that it didn't lose all the fluid. But in the back, I basically have nothing. I'm going to have to get a stainless flex hose and then basically get like a roll or one of those preformed brake lines to cut, in a splitter. So like a hose will come down a splitter and then hard lines to go to either side and then soft lines to connect. I basically have nothing because when I sold my old axle, all that stuff went with it. Out here on this parts Jeep, there's actually a splitter and stuff, so I may end up robbing some parts off of this thing. So the next biggest thing that I need to worry about is my steering. I've been struggling with this puzzle, trying to figure out a way to get this tie rod up above the leaves and use the high steer arms that go on top of these reed knuckles, but every configuration I put it in, it either hits the leaf or it's just something's wrong. So I think what I'm going to end up doing for now to get it on the road is connecting it down here on like the factory spot where it goes under the leaf, and then using the high steer arm for the drag link. I can almost guarantee I'm going to need hydro assist on this thing, but I'm not even going to begin to start messing with that until I get these where I want them. If you really think about it, if I get these brakes done, if I get that steering done, if I finish getting this fuel tank in there, and I get these drive shafts that just came in, I think I can take this thing for a test spin, and I'm hoping to do that by the end of the week. So Friday, my front drive shaft came from Adams Driveshafts, and this thing is pure beef. And what I did, these axles had 1330 yokes on them, but the one on my rear axle was broke. And a buddy of mine had a 1350 high clearance yoke. He gave it to me for $20. So what I decided to do is just upgrade everything to 1350, including at the transfer case. So I called up Adams and gave him measurements for these nice 1350 shafts, the front pinion yoke, and then both of the transfer case yokes. The rear drive shaft is supposed to arrive today, but this one came in Friday. So yesterday I took these yokes off, put the new ones on, and knocked this out. The fit's perfect. And I can't say enough about the service that I got from Adams. I actually reached out to them on Instagram, kind of asked a bunch of questions, and they were really helpful and told me what I need, what I can do, what I can't, all that kind of stuff. All that other stuff aside, the biggest roadblock I've hit is the fuel tank, because I do not want to run a fuel cell behind the seat, but with this big axle and the 3 inches of stretch, it just wasn't going to fit. Now, my fuel tank skid plate was already a custom built skid plate. I had previously done like the dimple mod on it, but it wasn't enough to fit this axle. So what I did was I completely chopped up that skid plate. I cut a couple inches out of it, fabricated new pieces for the front to go up and attach, and somewhere along the way I mismeasured it, and now when I go to lift it up there, the tank actually is running into the body. I was able to get the back of the tank hooked up, but the front has like 1.5 inch gap still, and even with a 1-inch body lift, it's still hitting it. And I did that on purpose, trying to tuck the gas tank up, and I think I just mismeasured something, and unfortunately it's hit me a roadblock, but I think I know how I'm gonna fix it, for now anyway. So there you can see the gap I'm talking about. Now it's not jacked up right now, it's just kind of sitting on a jack stand. The rear's bolted up, so the gap will close another inch or so. But I think what I'm going to do is take a piece of like square tubing and just basically drill a hole through it and get long bolts and use it as kind of a spacer. Yeah, the front of the tank will hang down a little bit, but you can see all this stuff on the back is like all custom. I made it, and unfortunately I just made it too short. It just kind of happens sometimes when you're building custom stuff. I'm hoping it clears the differential. It's still really close. It just depends on how much up travel I have and if I set up bump stops and all that. But it was a really fun process actually, trying to refabricate that thing and get it to fit in here. I learned a lot even through my mistakes. You know, sometimes you're never gonna get better if you don't just try to do something, and even if you just totally screw it up. That's why my channel name is Flawedoffroad, because I'm always running into roadblocks and screwing shit up. Just for reference here, this is the old back of the fuel tank. So that's how much I cut off. And then the old piece was like inverted, and I had heated up the tank and dimpled it. So basically everything you see here is what's new down there on it. And it turned out pretty nice. It's just a little bit off, but I'm gonna make it work and save this space behind my seat. Well, anyway, we're keeping this one short and sweet because I got a buttload of work to do. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that button. It helps me out. There's a playlist that shows everything, well, not everything, but most of the stuff I've done in this axle swap and everything up to this point. If I didn't show what I did, I talked about what I did. So check that out. Check out my channel, and we'll see you next time.